Good morning, welcome. If you're new here, welcome back. If you're not new here, I am Katie, the vintage academic. I'm a grad student at Parsons School of Design in New York City, and today's Monday, and I have class starting in like 30 minutes, and I'm definitely not going to make it on time. I overestimated how much time I actually had to get ready this morning. I also, if you're new here, have ADHD, which severely impacts my ability to do things on time, and my sweater is missing a button, and we're just doing great today. Wow, okay, welcome back. It's a week in my life in grad school. I gotta head to class. I have fashion curation this morning, which is learning how to curate fashion for the museum space. Pretty straightforward. I have to give a presentation today on my exhibition proposal. The theme for the exhibition proposal was New York fashion cultures, so I went with like a history of New York Fashion Week, because what's more New York fashion cultures than New York Fashion Week? I'm like not the biggest fan of this class, mostly because it's taught by someone who used to work at the Metropolitan Museum, and the Metropolitan Museum is very like spectacle, look at us, we have a lot of cool stuff, and my vibe is more like small ethnographic museum that works closely with the community that it's exhibiting about, so that way there's more of like a reciprocal relationship, not an exploitative relationship. And what really got me was when my professor was talking about the punk show that the Met did and how they went through like all of this work to identify the characteristics of punk and based on actual punks, and then took all those characteristics and applied it to fashion over here. I'm like, you guys missed a solid opportunity to like do this in collaboration with like people who are really famous in the punk movement. But I digress. That is not what I should be talking about right now because I'm gonna be late to class. So I'm gonna go head out. This week, the theme of the video is also going to be sewing and making, because I haven't done that in forever. If there are any people who are still around for my cosplay days, you know that I used to, well, cosplay, and I'm really stinking tired of not creating anymore. So I bought some fabric, I bought a pattern. We're gonna make something this week in the very limited, essentially non-existent free time that I have. Let's go to class. So this day I headed to class, but I didn't stay in the city for very long. I have a tendency to finish my classes and immediately come home because I'm a little bit uncomfortable or I really just want to lay down in bed. But after this week, I started spending more time at the library and the university center, trying to get a little bit more work done because I'm far more productive when I stay in the city versus when I go home. Anyways, this is my fashion curation class. I made sure to go over my presentation. These are what my slides looked like. Like I said, it was about the fashion culture of New York Fashion Week, and this is also something called a Mila board. A Mila board is basically like a visual note-taking, visual project management tool that I love to use for projects, and then I headed home. Say hi. They can't hear you, but you're adorable. And then it was time to get back to work, especially because I had a midterm due on Tuesday that I hadn't quite finished yet. The midterm I was working on was for a class called Secondhand Fashion, Lives in of Clothing, which has everything to do with secondhand and vintage fashion, which is what I love. But despite that, I still really struggled to get this midterm finished because I was a little bit burnt out this semester, at a loss for words, and it took a lot of effort for me to finish all of my assignments. Good morning, folks. It is Tuesday. I did not vlog a ton yesterday. To be quite frank, it was a bit of a rough day for just everyone involved. Myself, James, the team. We're all just kind of going through it at the moment. I'm in the midst of midterms, Chanel is finishing finals, James is in the weeds of the job search, and at the same time, we're all trying to finish the course for accepted consulting so it can go out. So we're all just like under a little bit of stress. I just tried to focus on being there and present for the people who needed me, and also taking care of the most important thing right now, which is finishing my midterm for my class, secondhand fashion. I almost got to the point. It needs to be at least 1,500 words. It's currently at something like 1,450, so I only have a little bit left to go before it qualifies for my midterm, and we're just doing peer reviews. And my research paper is kind of looking at the level of aesthetic labor that that goes into presenting vintage clothing on Instagram for sale. So I interviewed a vintage seller on Instagram, and during that interview I kind of realized I need to actually talk to a buyer as well. So I'm hoping to take like a comparative approach with this. I don't know if that's actually what you're supposed to do in interview style research, but it's what I'm going to do. I'm also rushing to get ready this morning because I was slow getting out of bed. I keep waking up with a really bad twinge in my back, but I'm supposed to be meeting with a newly admitted student who will be coming to the program in the fall. I just really enjoy being like an ambassador, someone who people can reach out to ask questions about the program and getting to advocate for them and all that kind of stuff. So I'm very pleased that someone reached out to me and wanted to talk to me about the program, but I'm also rushing because I am supposed to be meeting with her like in a few minutes and I'm not ready. And I have to finish my final. I'm staying home today. We are working remotely for class today. Finish the course and then I can take a breather. Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Amazing. All right, I think done the best that I can on my paper for now. I really need to do a second interview, but you can kind of see it here. This is the table of contents, and then I have my introduction, my literature review, and then I have a little bit about my methodology and kind of like an introduction to my analysis of the interview that I had with an Instagram vintage seller. So that has been posted to a shared Google Doc. The way that we're doing this midterm is that we are taking a link to our Google Doc, posting it in another Google Doc that everyone has access to, and then everyone gets assigned 2 papers to review in like a peer review system. So I have just submitted mine. I'm going to see which 2 I need to read, and then I'm going to edit those. Then as a treat after that, my sewing pattern came in, and I said at the beginning of this vlog that this vlog was going to be mostly about like sewing, and then didn't talk about sewing at all last night. It's been a busy week already and it's only Tuesday, and I have to also pack tomorrow because I leave on Thursday. One of those weeks. But my pattern comes in. When I'm done with this, I'm going to play with my pattern for a little bit, and then I'm going to get cracking on editing the course for Accepted because that needs to get done as soon as possible. Wait. I'm sat here wondering how many different angles I can give you guys of my keyboard before you get bored. But this is what I've been doing all day and what I'll probably be doing for the rest of the day. Sometimes that's the academic life. It's not always fun trips into the city and taking pictures of the Empire State Building. Sometimes you have to actually do your work.
This is how I'm feeling and all this kind of stuff and whatever. And now I was just like, this is what's happened. And I am in Oxford as a mature student. Are you filming?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great.
I've been sitting at my desk all day, so I'm trying to find ways to like spice up the footage. Because Cait is the spiciest. Actually, I'd say Madison is our most spicy member.
Madison is the spiciest of spices.
But
like I'm probably like turmeric. Madison is like chili pepper.
It goes Kaylin, Cait, me, Chanel, Madison.
In terms of like heat range, yeah.
Yeah. But
Kaylin's
everyone
like salt.
Kayla's salt. I'm telling her you said that. I'm leaving that in the vlog.
I'd say Kaylin's salt. You're probably pepper. Chanel is... Maybe Chanel's spicier than I am.
Oh, Chanel's definitely spicier than you are.
At the end of the day, Madison is chili.
Yes. Cayenne. But
Cayenne pepper.
Everyone make sure you go subscribe to Miss Cait. She just got into Oxford. So go to her channel, tell her congrats, follow her journey as a non-traditional student at Oxford. And now we are trying to figure out what we're doing for the course edits because I do not have the motion graphics. Cait does not have the footage she needs to edit, so we're trying to figure that out.
Together we'll make it work.
We always do when we do it together. But I'm gonna go so we can figure that out. It's here! The pattern that I bought is here. It got delivered while I was finishing up my midterm and on the phone with Cait. It's here! Ta-da! It has been such a long time since I have used a paper pattern. So let's see if I remember how to do any of this. I don't remember if I showed it to you or not, but this is the fabric that will turn into the skirt, and I cut it so that that center motif will be right at my feet when it eventually gets turned into the full thing. I have leftover fabric from this that I hope is enough for the bodice pattern, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that out, read the instructions, make sure I understand and remember how to do the thing, see what we can get started. And then I have to go and do work, run the study session for accepted, do the editing, but I'm just excited and happy. But before I can do that, I need to switch into something a little comfier. Complete with a seaweed snack, because I'm hungry. I, like I said, have not used a paper pattern in a very long time, so I'm going to take things slow, move carefully, and probably cut out a size bigger than what I think I need just in case, because sizing for paper patterns is already weird. If you're using a paper pattern for whatever reason, I don't know why I would be talking to people who'd be sewing when my channel is like literally all about academics and ADHD, but I digress. Normally, you would go off of the finished measurements of the garment. This pattern does not have finished measurements of the garment, so I'm going to go off of what my best guess is. Paper patterns actually do have an interesting history in fashion history. The way that patterns used to be disseminated was they would print the pattern pieces small scale in magazines for the designs that they were showcasing in the magazines, and then from there you could copy them out, trace them out, and scale them up. And it wasn't until late 19th century, early 20th century, I could be wrong, when paper patterns became popular. You used to order the size that you wanted to make and they would send you a paper pattern. We now have the ability to print multiple sizes on one sheet of paper. This one piece has multiple lines, and those lines correspond to the different sizes that you can cut out. I'm just gonna start cutting things out. That's just like a little piece of fashion history information for you. Maybe I'll let voiceover Katie take over and she can tell you more about fashion patterns, whatever. We're gonna cut. So paper patterns have existed for a long time, but around the time that the small and reliable domestic sewing machine became popular, we could get paper patterns through women's journals such as Godey's Ladies Journal, but the patterns were intricate and required a lot of time and patience to trace them out onto plain paper, and they also didn't have size grading, so once they had the pattern, they had to still alter it and fit it to size. Then we have Ebenezer Butterick, yes, that Butterick, who experimented with graded patterns in the 1860s and shortly opened his business specializing in dependable paper patterns that were printed in a variety of sizes thanks to that pattern grading. The growth of Butterick & Company was swift, with the firm averaging a daily output of 23,000 patterns in 1871. A lot of other stuff happened between and after that, including a variety of other journals that also included paper patterns, as well as, like I said, pattern diagrams in magazines that you could then scale up. But for the purpose of this video, that is the birth of the paper sewing pattern industry. What do you guys think? You want me to make a full video on this? Happy to do so. Good morning. It's Wednesday. I have to go into class today. I haven't done the readings for class yet, so I'm going to do that. I didn't end up vlogging very much last night while I was sewing because I was so in the hyper-focus zone, you know, like the ADHD hyper-focus zone, that James, who is sitting over here, turned around while he was playing video games with his cousins, and he was like, how you doing over there? And I looked up and I was like, what do you mean? He was like, how you doing? Like, you getting sleepy, ready for bed? And I was like, I have no idea what time it is. It was midnight. I go to bed at like 11. Let me show you the results of last night though. So, we have what is called, I don't know what the hell I'm doing because I've lost all of my technical sewing skills over the years. I also just realized why they tell you to put it together in the way that they want you to put it together, and I should have done that from the beginning. This is the back, and the tabs go over like this, and then the sides come around like this. And then the tab will connect here. Et voila, a bodice. It's actually a little bit too big. It's a little like too wide this direction because I cut out a size 20 and I might have done better with a size 18. But I digress. It is on its way and I think it's cute. Anyways, I need to do my readings for school before I go, but I also need to fix this skirt because it is like way too big for me. I'm gonna throw a dart into this so that it's cute. This is a t-shirt from Emo Night. And it shows off my MCR tattoo, so it's like the perfect vibe. But yeah, I'm gonna take this in, I'm gonna do my readings, I'm gonna go to school, and it's going to be, I'm also hanging out with a friend after school, gonna meet up with James after school, gotta come back and do the workshop and pack my clothes because I leave tomorrow for a wedding. This has been like an all over the place vlog. The quality is not where I usually like it to be, but it's fine. Okay, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna stop talking. I am... Now it fits. I don't like this style of skirt very much, which is the reason why I haven't reached for this skirt in a really long time. I prefer a waistband. So the plan is to add a waistband at some point, but today is not that day. We're just going to move on, maybe throw on a belt.
And I pray that it is temporarily. I've been lost for so long.
Absolutely raging headache, but I made it into the city. Gonna grab a coffee, go to the classroom early, and do some readings. Say hi to school. Hi, school.
Suddenly there's no one else but me around. I lost my thought in translation. Oh, if I could only bring this back around.
Camera.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you.
Love you too. Yep.
I'm going to a building I've never been to before, so I hope I can find it, that I'm not late. Oh, actually that was pretty easy to spot. So this is the end of the vlog. I went to the MFA Fashion Design and Society class where we got to see the designs that they were working on because we shared a lecture with them called Fashion Cultures, and we also partnered with them on projects, so it was really cool to see what they were doing because this class is meant to kind of bridge practice and theory. And that's where I ended the vlog because I had to leave to St. Louis for a wedding. So don't forget to subscribe, leave me a comment, and I'll see you in the next one.